This is the Yanks Go Yard podcast with Adam Weinrib and Thomas Carinante.
Welcome to the Yankees Go Yard podcast. I'm Adam Weinrib alongside Thomas Carinante. Damn, it feels good to have a standalone Netflix game, do a podcast about it, have a big gap when we don't know if the Yankees are going to continue that momentum from night one opening into opening day, as the Giants apparently called it. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the Yankees beat the Giants in the opener, and then the Giants were like, hey, our opening day starter is Robbie Ray. And everyone was like, no, he's not. You already had opening day, and you lost. And they were like, no, today's opening day, actually. Then they lost that one, too. And then they lost the third one for good measure. The Yankees pitching was dominant all weekend. The offense slumbered a little bit compared to the opener on Friday and Saturday. Again, it's been hard for me to remember which days we actually played. It was Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, the classic kind of series that happens all the time. We know a series like that. And Aaron Judge, the main difference between game one and games 2 and 3, he heard you. And so he went off and he pretty much directly won one of these and gave him some breathing room in the second one. But it's the pitching that's going to be the main takeaway from this, as well as whatever is going on in the Giants clubhouse. Only 3 games in, the vibes are already deeply strange. Rafael Devers no longer Rafael Devers, at least head-to-head, at least in the moments that really matter. We're going to break it all down for you. Thank you for joining us. Thomas Carinante, welcome to the show. Hard not to feel good about being 3-0 for the third consecutive year, which is so weird given how the Yankees have opened seasons for so long with just like an unholy dud that reminds you of all the bad things about Yankees baseball. And this time around, I'm not upset by anything.
No, it feels good. I think it is a good distraction from what happened last year. You don't want to run into look at the Giants, dude. Like they've had an underwhelming 10 years, but I think there was higher hopes for them coming into this season. And I know it's Tony Vitello's first few days on the job, but I mean, could it have gone worse for the guy? It's funny because I saw Awful Announcing do a piece on it, and I was watching the in-game interview with Ken Rosenthal, and he's like, so what's the biggest difference between college and the pros? And he's like, well, I can't talk down to these guys, so I don't know what I'm going to do. And
I can't demean my athletes anymore. Oh, very cool. Yeah.
I'm like, I know what you're saying, but you're on national TV, so you got to be a little bit more diplomatic. And then the comments after the first 2 games where he was saying it was too try hard in there, and then the PR spin after that where I was like, if you know Tony Vitello, he's actually a passionate man and he loves the sport. And it's like, yeah, it's
Robbie Ray coming out too. Like, what you don't want is your own players after one series to be like, I didn't feel that way at all. And that's what we got. They were like, what do you make of Tony Vitello's comments? Everybody's pressing a little bit. And Robbie Ray's like, we're playing baseball.
Yeah.
Can't get too high, can't get too low. It's been 2 games. It's like,
yeah,
you're right. You should be manager.
Make this guy mad. They look alike. That's the whole thing. That's what everybody's talking about. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of start you want to avoid if you're a contender such as the Yankees, or if you're a team in some sort of transition where whatever additions that were made can't be absolutely heinous. And sorry for Giants fans, but it doesn't look great right now. Is it the end of the world? No, but you don't want those headlines to poison the well at the start of a new season when everybody's excited just for the blank slate and for everything else. But Yankees did a great job. I thought Aaron Boone pressed a lot of good buttons in this series. Everybody was freaking out about the Friday lineup because he took out Ben Rice, Trent Grisham, and Ryan McMahon when they were facing Robbie Ray. But I think quickly after it was clarified the reason why was because the next time the Yankees didn't face a lefty did face a lefty was the following Saturday. So that means it would have been a lot more difficult to get those group of guys in the lineup over the next week and a half. And they had all these off days. So it was like, why not? But I don't have any complaints. I was eyeing the walks. Yankees pride themselves on walks, and you have 7 in the first 3 games. That's their calling card with being savages in the box. And I think that was the only glaring thing for me, but otherwise pitching amazing. There's stats galore for history around this series, and the offense did just enough and came through when they needed to. So am I discouraged by the 2-3 run games? No, because when they needed to get the big hit and break through, they did it, which is usually the stuff that we're complaining about. So great start, I think. In an awkward situation, you started like we talked about, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Netflix on the West Coast. Now they go to Seattle. We'll see how that goes, but promising way to get things going, and excited for what we're going to see over the coming weeks.
Yeah, talk about stats galore. If you like pitching, and that's why I can't really ascribe. I mean, look, Tony Vitello's got to get his house in order, but I can't sit here on this podcast to be like, the Giants are trash, the offense is non-existent, they're as boring as ever. The Yankees pitching was incredible.
Yeah,
and I don't want to get too inflated in either direction and say either one of these things is going to happen for the remainder of the season. Like, the Yankees pitching is going to be best we've ever seen for all 162, or the Giants offense is just going to be useless, or the Giants offense just got unlucky, they'll be back. It's a combination of all of it. The Yankees aren't going to look this good in most 3-game sets. And it was, yeah, I mean, they allowed that one run on the Matt Chapman ribby single, and you're kind of like, here we go. And then you have to catch yourself and realize that's the first run they've allowed all year. You feel like it's really not a here we go situation. They haven't given up a run yet in 2026. And Will Warren battled the pitch count monster a little bit, but you can't really exclude him from the narrative. The surprises and the MVPs and the buttons that were pressed in the bullpen, Jake Bird, I mean, Camilo Doval, I mean, all these guys. Brant Hedrick even got his flowers. Fernando Cruz appears a little bit, but doesn't. I guess we'll see how much Fernando Cruz we get moving forward. And Bednar, after they're so careful with him in the World Baseball Classic, goes back to back, and it's kind of no problem. The first 2 reach in the 9th, but here comes a K, and here comes that clutch double play. He looked like WBC Bednar there, setting himself up for some trouble and getting out of it immediately. But the headline is obviously the fewest runs allowed in the first 3 games of the season. 2 other teams had 0. It's the 2016 Dodgers and 1963 Cardinals. This is a Sarah Lang stat, unsurprisingly. The Yankees of this year are tied with 5 other teams with just 1 single run allowed. You can bag on the Giants offense all you want. They're obviously uneven, but Matt Chapman, Rafi Devers, Luis Arraez, Willie Adames, Jung Hoo Lee, there are not nobodies here. I picked them to make the playoffs. I feel like that was an erroneous pick, but I expected more of a challenge and more of a threat. They got a recovery from Fried in the opener that we talked about, and then the Schlittler game, he was only built up so far, and it didn't really prevent that from looking like a standard Cam Schlittler start. He got into the 6th, and then you removed him, and there was just no drop-off at all from the guys that they brought in, including Doval throwing these 98.5-mile-an-hour turbo sinkers that dip below the zone. If you were worried about, little skittish about Doval in the 7-run game in the opener, just lost the plate temporarily, okay, fine. Is he a mop-up man? He should have alleviated that worry in the second game. And that inning, and the Schlittler start and the Doval inning are what are going to stand out to most casuals here. Although I'll throw out Jake Bird for the underrated MVP of this whole shenanigans.
I mean, he looked great. Whatever they managed to do, I mean, the run on that sweeper is incredible. The elevated sinker, I think he's if they get him right, and I didn't know he like touched 98. I don't know why I didn't know that. Maybe it was just so underwhelming when he came over at the trade deadline last year that it was just like, I don't care about this guy's arsenal. He's getting crushed. It doesn't matter. But I mean, the bullpen did the Camilo Doval of it all. I know we talked about it on Thursday, but he comes in, he closes the door in the 7-0 win, and then he comes in the 3-0 win on Friday and strikes out the side. And I think I've done a lot of complaining about Camilo Doval because I thought it was yet another trade where the Yankees were putting pressure on themselves to reimagine a pitcher who lost his stuff. And that's what we talk about all the time with these deals, where instead of just getting the guaranteed talent, they're trying too many of these experiments or rebirths or whatever you want to call it. But maybe this was the offseason that helped. It's still early, and we don't know exactly how good the Giants are. On paper, this lineup is obviously talented, but we know how baseball works. They could end up being bad, and then this could end up being a fluky series. Nonetheless, Doval struggled against bad opponents last year, so I'm taking any win I can get with this guy. The fact that he was able to do what he did in those 2 games was impressive. And Brent Hedrick, Tim Hill, we did a lot of worrying about this bullpen. And I think for good reason, because of the lack of defined roles for the most part outside of Bednar, and then the last guy in the bullpen, and everything in between was kind of just a toss up. Maybe some of these things are taking shape right now. At the very least, I think the Yankees got the early returns that, hey, if we have 3 different bullpens throughout the year, we're good. This crew can at least keep it together for 2 months and we'll be all right. I'm wondering, though, what happened to Rafael Devers, because, I was told he was a Yankee killer, but it turns out it's just the Red Sox psyche thing. It's got to be, right?
Well, he didn't face Garrett Cole. That's
true.
That's what we were told. He didn't actually get to face his daddy, but he faced a whole bunch of new. I mean, Brent Hedrick is his daddy. Kim Schlittler is his daddy. We learned a whole bunch of new daddies for Rafael Devers this weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's never been more glaring that the Red Sox uniform is the main problem here, because Devers goes, like you pointed out, goes 3 of 12. Right, he hit a double in this series. He blew Aaron Judge a kiss. That's fine. That's a fine series. It's the opener. He got an extra base hit, but Rafael Devers in a Red Sox uniform, 1,000% homers against Hedrick in the first game to turn it from 7-0 to 7-3 after he put 2 men on ahead of him in the 8th. And do the Yankees lose? Probably not, but you're going to end up with a save situation in a 7-0 game if he's in a Red Sox uniform. That's accurate. That's a vibes-based, unprovable statement that I am making, but that feels 100% accurate. Schlittler blows him away in that for just a non-competitive at-bat, and that is mostly Cam Schlittler's greatness, and it's partially Devers battling with this hammy thing that's had him playing out of position. But, I mean, I've never seen him get treated that way by a Yankees pitcher before. And then the double play later in that game, it was like, I mean, if you've got Devers up in a clutch opportunity, I don't think the scoreboard's going to reflect that inning went off without a firework if he's in a Red Sox uniform. And then here we are with just, 3 for 12, but the quietest 3 for 12 ever. You tack on that Wilyer Abreu is going off for the Red Sox and nobody else is. Caleb Durbin goes hitless. As much as I love the guy, he got ahead in the count 3-0 with a chance to tie the game late yesterday and ended up striking out on 6 pitches somehow. Red Sox fans also, again, proving they're doing the Teflon thing. They're going back and forth. Like, they have a concern that they don't have enough power in their lineup. And then if you're like, hey, I don't think you have enough power in your lineup, they're like, well, did you even watch Wilyer Abreu? It's like, my criticism isn't that I don't think they don't have one power hitter. Like, I don't think they have enough. Yeah, Wilyer Abreu is great. He's been hot so far. What's that doing for you at this juncture? Like, I know you have one guy who can provide power, but imagine if you added Rafael Devers into that lineup, where you'd be. Well, we can't imagine that anymore because he's gone. And so now you have to stand there and defend. I think Abreu hitting 27 is going to be enough for everybody. Okay, maybe. We'll see. We'll see where we are. But a tough opening weekend for the Red Sox and a tough opening weekend for Rafael Devers and a great opening weekend for the Yankees, where some of their concerns were alleviated temporarily, has us, riding as high as you can after a 3-game series. No one thinks the bullpen is solved, but it at least gives you a vision where you can see the middle innings being capably covered, and you can think about, like you said, if this is 3 different bullpens this year, getting to the next checkpoint intact as best you can, and then here come the upgrades. Like, I'm not going to stop watching Giovanni Cruz outings at AAA. I'm not going to stop paying attention to the potential reinforcements. I'm not going to stop watching Legrand, because these guys are going to be relevant. Ryan Weathers or Luis Heel might end up in the bullpen. Their changes are going to occur. Cade Winquest didn't even appear in this series. We're talking about a fact-finding mission on Cade Winquest. Like, he's nothing so far. I'm not able to glean anything. There's going to be turnover. There are going to be struggles, but you're hoping that they can get to various checkpoints mostly intact and that they have the horses down below and in other areas of the roster that could be converted to the bullpen to make sure that they're able to maximize it when those downturns and blips do come in the opposite direction. And entering the season, I sort of thought you didn't pay nearly enough attention to the bullpen. We're 2 arms short at least. Where is Cruz? Where is Legrand? Now I feel like I can see them getting to Heel's arrival and having to make that Winquest decision and making it and getting rid of Winquest, feeling solid about where the bullpen is. And then I think they can get to June, and then that's the next point in time when they're probably going to have to make adjustments.
Yeah. And we know this is how the Yankees operate, right? Like usually it's a tale of two halves for the bullpen. Whether it's they bring in a couple guys at the trade deadline or they're ready to elevate some other guys from the minor leagues. So there's obviously expendable names here where they have the ability to have they have that flexibility. It's set in stone. But I do like the idea of maybe the lack of roles at this point because there's not too many defined assets here to carve a role out for themselves or there's a million options, right? There's guys who can be shuttled to and from Scranton if need be. There's guys who if they perform poorly, then you get rid of them and you move on and you figure it out. There's guys who can be expendable in the regard that, hey, what if they perform well in the first 2 months, but you have better options either down the road or you figure they might burn out at some point. Maybe they become trade assets in June. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Give me some credit. As for Jake Bird, I think this is an interesting thing that I was just looking at over the weekend. So, he came over at the trade deadline last year. And at that point in the first half of the season with Colorado, he appeared in 45 games and threw 53 and a third innings.
Yes.
So I guess I didn't pay too much close attention to that, obviously, because you saw the numbers. It was a 4.73 ERA and a 1.48 whip. So you were just like, I mean, those numbers aren't good, so it doesn't matter if he pitched 53 innings or 33 innings. The results were not going to be great. But part of me, and then once he came to the Yankees, he pitched in 2 innings, got demoted, and then finished the year at Scranton with 15 and 2/3 innings, which brought his total hovering right around 70. That is probably the upper echelon of a workload for a Yankees high leverage reliever. That 70 range. I was looking back the last couple of years, and these guys typically live in the 55 to 70 situation. So we could have been looking at a scenario where the Yankees acquired Jake Bird. And look, it's upsetting, right? Because last year you wanted them to go for it. And maybe Jake Bird was a 2026 play and not a 2025 player. Or maybe the Yankees were optimistic and they said, maybe we could fix him quicker than we thought. And then we'll also have him for 2026 and 2027. That'd be great. But I don't think so.
That never works.
Yeah, I think this, given all the arms they acquired, right? It was like, you needed one of these guys to work. And I don't know where the thought process was. So you look at this zoomed out a little bit more. And again, it's 3 games. I don't know. But they could have been like, all right, this guy's already over 50 innings. Like we got 2 months of this season left. Like there is no way he's going to be able to last the entirety of the year in big league innings with the amount of times that we'll need him to kind of rework whatever changes that are being shuffled around for his arsenal. So I think that they viewed it as, all right, we'll see what happens at the deadline. If it's bad, we send him down. We let him just get his work in, and then we work with him in the offseason, and then hopefully spring training goes better, and then we're just ready to go at the onset of the season. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe now Jake Bird is a full asset throughout the entire year, and maybe he does eclipse that 70 mark and goes up to 75. He pitched 89 and a third innings 2 years ago, which is a lot for a reliever. So the durability is there. It's just about balancing the durability with the effectiveness, right? Like that's what it is for all these guys. So I would look for them to kind of preserve Doval and Bird at the very least, because and Hill, those are the main 3 assets alongside David Bednar, and then everybody else is going to get reps here and there to figure out what their efficacy is and how useful they could be for Aaron Boone in the first month, 2, 3 of the season. But yeah, I mean, with the this run prevention is insane. Like this, all these stats from Katie Sharp were unreal. You mentioned the fewest runs allowed in the first 3 games of the season. They also, this is the 3rd time in franchise history the Yankees had a single season 3-game span on the road with no more than 1 run and no more than 1 fielding error. Happened twice, 1904 and 1976. That's a little bit of a crazy nitpicky one, but it exists and it's out there. And then there was this other crazy one that I just pulled up. Schlittler's was the first Yankees player in history with at least 8 strikeouts and 1 hit or fewer allowed in his first game pitched of the season. Again, a little bit nitpicky, but yeah. And then it was the first time in franchise history the Yankees allowed 0 runs in each of their first 2 games. And then this other one, 0 runs, fewer than 5 hits combined in their first 2 games of the season. The other team to do it was the 1940 Indians. Katie Sharp went all out for run prevention.
I wanted to see a couple more World Series champions on these lists, though. I was like, the 2016 Dodgers. Like, can we get at least one team that has a ring that's on one of these comparables? But even so, it was, I mean, again, astounding to have a shutout opening night, regroup. Like, mentally, you're like, opening night couldn't have gone better. Like, let's see what happens in game 2. Like, it'll be a struggle, I'm sure. Maybe somebody gets lit up early. Maybe they take Schlittler out. Yarborough comes in. He stinks. And then that one was just as low stress as it gets. 3-0. They extend the lead to 3-0, and then pretty much no blips from the pitching staff. And then the next night was a little bit tighter. Warren early stress on the pitch count. Can't complete 5. Got to go to the pen early. So how does that turn out? Bednar back-to-back. What does he feel like? The tying run is on base with nobody out in the 9th, but then it's over like that. And you brought up, I think, the 2 most important things that we haven't addressed. We will talk about Aaron Judge a little bit, but that said, the standard for greatness is so high that no one is really blown away by the 2-run homer against Robbie Ray and the extending solo shot the next night. But it was nice because I guess people decided that opening night was like a World Series game or a playoff game just because they wanted to judge Aaron Judge. Like, opening day doesn't matter unless you're looking for an anti-Aaron Judge narrative. And then as soon as now people are acting like Netflix game is the standard. Like, Judge struggles in Netflix games. Then he shows up the next 2 days and basically is Aaron Judge. His first 2 ABs on Friday, maybe it was just the first one. He was a little uncomfortable early there too. And so you felt the chatter starting to rise because everyone sucks. And then a laser home run off of Robbie Ray. And then the next night, basically the same thing, turning on an inside pitch, depositing it over the wall. But I do just want to give credence and credit to the one error stat. The only error was Jose Caballero in the 9th inning of opening night. The middle infield defense has been night and day breath of fresh air watching Jazz and Caballero turn these double plays. I can't rule out that Volpe isn't going to come back looking stronger, looking like April Volpe from last year. But the longer we go without him, the more I'm just like, this is so nice to be experiencing the world that I'm living in right now, and tack on Ryan McMahon at third and the early progress from Ben Rice's scoops. Like, Trent Grisham in the first inning of the first game, and they're lucky that that's not an error because then the stat would be invalidated. But Grisham getting bad jumps early and Jose Caballero in the cold 9th, really the only problem they've had. Otherwise, that middle infield was smooth as silk. It's almost the biggest difference year over year. And Schlittler, just from opening day, being here, being ready, not even being built all the way up yet, and just the upgrade. And this is not an insult to Carlos Rodon, the people that we started last year with, but Cam Schlittler is a massive upgrade over everybody in his current form. He's the most exciting pitcher the Yankees have had in the rotation. I mean, you can argue if you want to give me Garrett Cole in like 2022, you can. A 2023 Cole, I'll take it. But really, I'm like looking at Roger Clemens in the Mariners playoff series in 2000. Like, I'm going further back. Like, and I know I'm overlooking prime Sabathia. Like, I understand what I'm doing here. I understand the level of praise I'm leveling on this guy. I'm not saying he's that permanently, but I'm saying right now when Cam Schlittler toes the rubber, the level of anticipation for what I'm about to see is basically higher than anybody I've seen on the Yankees in like 2 decades. And it's made Red Sox fans insane. They are so weird. They couldn't be weirder. They don't know what it's like to have a guy on the Yankees who actually does own them and have the mental edge. Like, they can't comprehend it, so they're trying to pick at everything he does and pretend like we're the ones who are missing something. But the reality is, beat your ass in a deciding playoff game, having fun online, with like watching you guys spiral out. He's, got the marionette sticks, and your guys got the puppet strings on your shoulders, and yet you feel like you're in control of him somehow. I had a Red Sox fan chirp me. He was in Cam Schlittler's replies after Cam Schlittler said, keep hating on us. And he tweeted about how much he didn't care about Schlittler like 3 previous times. So I tweeted back at him.
Fucking care, bro.
I tweeted back at him, you should tweet about him 12 more times. And the guy was like, is this you? You talk about Red Sox fans all the time. Ironic. And I'm like, I do talk about Red Sox fans. I admittedly hate them. Should I talk about them less often? Probably. But I'm on record. I don't like Red Sox fans. So I post about them. You're trying to be on record that you don't care about Cam Schlittler. That's the difference. I could probably tweet about Red Sox fans 25% less than I do. Maybe 70% less than I do. Maybe 90, and the world would be fine for it. But I'm going online and saying, I hate Red Sox fans doing this, this, and this. You're going online tweeting 8 times in a 30-minute span. I can give less of a shit what Cam Schlittler does. This guy's so corny. I don't think about him at all. Who cares what he has to say? I think I'll get in his replies and tell him I don't care what he has to say. Who cares, bro? Cornball. Anybody else seeing these Cam Schlittler tweets? Anybody else not caring about these Cam Schlittler tweets? That's what's going on in the Red Sox Twitter space. Repeatedly posting about how he's not affecting you when he plainly is. He's like a dust mite on you, dude.
It's really disturbing. It's
actually very upsetting and a little scary.
Yeah, it's scary. It's disturbing with how just people react to things. Some guy commented on my TikTok because I did a little short of Schlittler's tweet after the game was keep hating on us because obviously we know what everybody's saying. After the Netflix opening night, everybody was clowning on Judge. They were laughing at Jazz for the 50-50 stuff. And Schlittler tweets that out. And you have fans immediately get like Blue Jays fans were all over it. What was the one guy that pulled up? He was like, keep hating us. And the guy was like, yeah, we will. You fucking suck.
Yeah, I mean, that made me laugh. Like, that, credit to Blue Jays fans, that's how it's done. Schlittler was like, keep hating on us. And he was like, will do. You fucking suck. It was like, that's very funny. But Red Sox fans in the mentions being like, I actually don't care at all about this guy. What a loser. Like, you care tremendously. It's crazy. And there were even comments from Red Sox fans being like, Cam Schlittler talking back to the non-existent haters. Okay, bro. It's like, you think there aren't Yankees haters?
Yeah.
He has to manufacture haters? Are you paying zero attention?
Yeah, it's not like this is Detroit versus everybody where it's like people hate the Tigers outside of people in the AL Central. Like they're just trying to drum up some motivation. It's like, no, we wake up every day and the Yankees, again, they swept the series. Red Sox Twitter spent the entire weekend clipping any low light they could have while their team was losing in Cincinnati. But yeah, Red Sox fan found me on TikTok and said, Cam Schlittler is Massachusetts born. He's a Red Sox fan deep down. You all know this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to do with that.
I don't know what that means. Like, his parents got attacked last postseason because they're from Massachusetts. So obviously being from Massachusetts isn't a plus in this scenario.
I am loving Cam Schlittler for 2 reasons. One, I don't know what it is, and I don't know if this is just me being irresponsible as a fan. I'm just not worried when he takes the mound. I was not worried in that playoff game against Boston. I just wasn't. And it wasn't like I was saying, oh, he's going to steamroll this lineup and we're going to win and he's going to have 12 strikeouts. I was just like, I know this guy's going to give me at least 5 innings and it's not going to be disastrous. And I am not going to have to be biting my nails from innings 1 through 3. Like that's the confidence level I have with Schlittler. Maybe that's a low bar, but I was optimistic about his season debut, even with the pitch limit, as he's getting built up a little bit. And 2, like good with the shit talking because there's not enough of this from Yankees players. And if there is any of it coming from Yankees players, historically, it was the guys with the easier targets on their back that like either didn't perform to the ability or were just not likable. Cam Schlittler, I think, A, is likable and B, is very good. And 2, like Jazz Chisholm, people hate him for whatever reason. I think it's hilarious. It's such outdated hate too, because like I get the Marlins stuff where he was definitely overrated as a member of the Marlins. I don't like that. It's Jazz, not a slight to you. It's not. You're 102 OPS hitter, OPS plus hitter with the Marlins, like solid baseball player. Not
he would probably say the same thing. Like his commentary on the 50-50 thing was basically like, hey, why would I shoot any lower? I'm saying what I want to do. He knows he's not likely to go 49 homers, 62 stolen bases this year, but why would he aim lower than that? If you told him like, hey man, you actually are probably a little overrated in Miami, he'd be like, yeah, I was flashy and I was very popular, but also very unpopular. I'm sure he would say something similar.
Yeah, he down to earth guy. Like, I mean, like him or not, we've seen plenty of in-game interviews over the last however many years. That was top 3 without me even referencing the other 2. Like, he was great on the mic. He was attentive to the game and like engaged with what the broadcast was asking him and just going back and forth in conversation. So you have him not being like an outrageous, cocky personality in terms of just, being ignorant and just arrogant. He's just confident in himself, and he thinks that he can achieve a lot and the team can achieve a lot, and he's vocal about it. So I think that's a great plus, because it's also not the corporate speak where, it's Aaron Judge. He's the captain. He's got to be diplomatic, but he's like, yeah, love this group of guys. They're going to be good this year. I think we're going to have a great time, and the chemistry's good. And yeah. And Jazz is like, dude, I'm going 50-50. We got all-stars and MVPs in this lineup. Like, we're going to roll over whoever we face on any given night. Like, it's going to be awesome. And then Cam Schlittler is going on tweeting at fans or just tweeting into the void after the game, and people are getting triggered by it. So, I mean, look, I'm cool with it. I know that in a sense it does put a target on the Yankees' back, because the more shit you talk and the more attention you put on yourself, the heavier the expectations are. But does it matter at this point anymore? Does it really matter at this point anymore? You've had Aaron Judge now for almost 10 years. It's been the same old playoff story for the most part. No matter what juncture of the postseason they get to, there's some sort of unfortunate, embarrassing collapse. So I think they have really exercised as many demons as they possibly could have. I mean, I guess the next step is, no, they already got eliminated in the wild card round in 2021. So they've done it all. Wild card round, ALDS, ALCS, World Series. So just talk some shit, get the confidence level up, win some games, and then we'll see where it takes us. But the energy's good. I'm feeling more and more confident about the chemistry stuff that Aaron Boone was talking about at the end of last. Remember, we side-eyed Aaron Boone. He's like, really upset about this group. This was the group we were most excited about. And it was like, dude, we just had Juan Soto a year ago. What are you talking about? And I know that was a great team, and I think we were confident that team was able to win a World Series, even at that point facing the Dodgers. We didn't pick them, but we knew that it was possible, and we saw, because it was just a couple of mistakes that separated the two. But now I'm seeing it. Now I'm seeing more of like guys being comfortable, young players being really comfortable and performing to expectations and fitting in really well and having relationships with the veterans. You even look at like the Yankees social media activity, what they're doing with all the players, and it's like, oh, okay, we got some humans in here. They're expressing themselves and they're not AI. Good. Very good. So I am actually I'm more looking forward to post-game interviews this year than ever. And Juan Soto was like the breath of fresh air for me when he was talking pre and post game a couple of years ago, because he was so different. He was such a different soundbite from what we were accustomed to. And now I think there's so many other guys in here, like Ben Rice, Cam Schlittler, Jazz, Trent Grisham, I know, is quiet, but he's funny and he's good. Like, you saw the French fry bit on Netflix. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah, it was great. I know Weave's gone, unfortunately, but I think that there's a lot of different personalities here that are entertaining and loosening things up a little bit. So Aaron Boone, I hear you, buddy. Sorry. We'll see what happens though. Jury's still out, the team's got to perform, but I'm seeing it more and more.
I mean, the jury is utterly so we could not be more still out, but the early returns are definitely backing up the 32-12 record down the stretch last year more than the head-to-head with the Blue Jays. Now, we're going to need to see it head-to-head with the Blue Jays. We're going to need to see it head-to-head with Boston, who, by the way, stomped the Yankees' ass last season until the end of the season. It's still crazy that the Yankees were able to triumph in that short series after dropping game one. And they did because of Cam Schlittler. And that's why we are where we are now. But, we need to see it against the teams that we didn't see it against last year. We're going to need to see it in October, and I understand that there is no way for the Yankees to absolve themselves of their sins in the eyes of certain people until we do see it in October. I get that. But I'm also just going to have a chat with my fellow Yankee fans right now. And you're never going to – this podcast is going to be critical of the team, and perhaps too critical from time to time. Like, we focus on minutia sometimes when we could be doing a better job of focusing on the bigger picture. I am guilty of this. The comment section is guilty of this. The website can occasionally be guilty of this. The criticism I've gotten is that we should maybe be a little bit more appreciative of the bigger picture rather than, that we can veer in one, rather than being too positive. But I think if this is too positive, then call me too positive. The Athletics preseason optimism survey results from Yankee fans are patently ridiculous. You guys should be embarrassed with the way that you view this team in context of the way that other fan bases view their teams. The running it back, whether you liked the way that they settled the end of the regular season last year more than you hated the playoff exit, or whether you didn't want Cody Bellinger back or whatever, the fact of the matter is this team brought back a team that dominated the regular season offensively last year. They lost their worst bullpen asset in Devin Williams, and they didn't rebuild the bullpen in the way that they should have. And I was hypercritical of them, and I'm not going to absolve that. I don't know if the bullpen is fixed. I liked what I saw, and I'm starting to believe a little bit, and I had almost no stress in the opening weekend. I can't, in good conscience, say the bullpen is done, and I was wrong. But I liked what I saw. I entered the season thinking, okay, they're going to have to prove to me whatever they're like. I'm not going to buy in until I see a playoff run that changes my view entirely. But in terms of offseason roster construction, there weren't a whole lot of things I would do different. A lot of it felt like just, once they got Bellinger in the fold, they didn't lose out on him, and they weren't totally hamstrung in the same way that I thought they would be by Grisham. Then it just felt like you should have spent more money on the bullpen. But other than that, you pretty much did what I want. You didn't blow assets for Edward Cabrera, which, by the way, look at Owen Casey in Miami. We're going to see him with, at Yankee Stadium next week. Look at Edward Cabrera in Chicago. It's just one start. It's just one series for both. But, that's the kind of thing the Yankees could have done. Almost did, but didn't do. Didn't get a pitcher who imploded in this first outing against the Washington Nationals. So those are the kind of things that you people were begging and saying, if you don't do the Edward Cabrera thing, this is an unserious organization. And then it all manifests itself in this optimism survey. If you give me a blank 0 to 100, rate how optimistic you were about the Yankees before the season. I was thinking about it this morning because of the survey. I think I would have gone like a 75, maybe a 74, 76. I mean, that might even be too low, really. But I think that if you polled the average fan, I would have guessed we would have all come in the 10 to 15 range throughout Major League Baseball, disillusioned by being very good, not great every year, disillusioned by the reality of the Dodgers, bummed out that we don't have an October triumph to hang our hats on. So we're just sitting in this stasis realm where I know we're good. I'm not sure how good we are. And I don't want to get embarrassed again thinking we're better than we are when the bright lights come on. So I would temper my expectations. I would have thought we would have been somewhere in the 12, 13, 14 range. You people rank the Yankees behind the Marlins and percentage points ahead of the White Sox in terms of optimism. 67.6% of you are optimistic. The White Sox fans are 67.2%. The Astros are below us too. But then it's the Cardinals, Rays, Rockies, Nationals, Angels, Twins. Those are the only teams that think less of themselves than Yankees fans opening the season. The Orioles are at 87%. The Red Sox fans who wanted to commit, have John Henry committed for war crimes after he let Alex Bregman go are at 90%. I'm going to need Yankee fans to get themselves into the 10 or 11th range and all. The A's fans are at 79.3%. Pirates fans, 78.8%. Reds, 79.8%. The Yankees fans have no business being that far below those organizations in terms of overall optimism. I think we can be as frustrated. No one is more frustrated than me that they have not opened a season as the best roster in baseball since 2009. Deeply frustrating. And the Dodgers are on another financial plane that I don't see a way for the Yankees to catch up to unless we're going to lose months of baseball next year. Deeply frustrating. Don't get me started. But to be below those teams where, Reds fans hate their ownership, Pirates fans hate their ownership, and they can muster up 15, 20% more enthusiasm for us before a season starts, that is where I'm going to have to draw the line and say, you guys are all going to need to recalibrate. And I get it. The penalty for being a good team that can't win the World Series in a survey like this is harsher than the penalty for a team like the White Sox that's just what is an optimistic White Sox fan? We're going to win 68 games and I'll see the rookies look good. The stakes for the Yankee season are obviously, I'm not happy unless I see them in October and go, oh, they have the juice. If they didn't win it this year, they're going to win it next year. the stakes are different. I get it, but we can't be hanging out where we are in these fan optimism rankings. We just cannot be.
Well, look, we do have to be better. The only caveat here that I will say matters a lot is, and I probably would have been, I'm going to be honest, I would have been at 70%. That's where I would have been at.
I think that's fine.
Yeah, and the only reason is because, like, you look at these teams ahead of us that might be a little bit egregious, like the Marlins and the Pirates and the A's and the Reds, and I don't even think any of the Red Sox is a little egregious to me because they lost one of their best players and didn't replace him. But
we were 17th last year at 68.1%, and that was right. Oh, sorry, that was before Gerrit Cole had Tommy John surgery. So if you had told Yankee fans then, they would have been in the 40s or 30s.
Yeah,
but,
without a doubt.
Yeah.
But for all those other teams that I just said, for let's see, like the egregious teams ahead of the Yankees, right? So for Pirates, Athletics, Reds, I guess you could say Diamondbacks, even Marlins too. Like those teams went out and made. And I'm not saying the Yankees didn't make transformative moves. Again, their transformative moves were at the trade deadline, and then it was hoping for big improvements from Cam Schlittler, Ben Rice, return of Gerrit Cole, Carlos Rodon, hopefully coming back better after he got the surgery. All of those teams went out and actually like changed the complexion of the roster. Like they or had such promising young talent the year prior that fans were excited about what's next for 2026. Whereas the Yankees, like, again, a good team, a talented team, among arguably the best team in the American League, you could say, but went out, brought back the same team, and spent a fuck ton more money on nothing new. They just had to pay premiums for guys whose markets drastically increased after a promising year in 2025. And that was one of our gripes this offseason, where it was like, all right, well, you didn't get better, but you spent $40 more million. So what are we doing? Which is where the reservations lie. But I will say, yes, Yankees fans, we cannot be below 70% in any given season. And I will even give the Yankees the benefit of the doubt. I will make the argument you can be below 75% in any given season. That's just unless something catastrophic were to happen. And even then, that there's one catastrophic thing that can happen that would change the optimism, and that's something bad happening to Aaron Judge, knocking on all the wood right now. But even a Gerrit Cole thing, we sat back last year and we were like, yeah, this is awful. But you looked at the rest of the roster and you're like, well, now Max Fried's stepping into that role, and he might not be Gerrit Cole, but it's the next best thing, arguably, like in terms of what you're able to actually field on your roster. So Yankees ended up being right about, or the Yankees are on track to be right about some of the improved performances and the growths year over year and the amount of money they spent. I think this quick note, you want to get people really riled up.
Yeah.
Steve Perello, Yanks Go Yard, is one of our writers at yanksgoyard.com, and it's a small sample size, but this is the point. I want to rile you up. Cam Schlittler versus Paul Skeens since August 1st of 2025.
Oh, no.
Yep. Schlittler with 12 starts, Skeens with 11, Skeens with 63 and 2/3 innings. Schlittler with 63 and 2/3 innings, Skeens with 55. Schlittler 2.26 ERA, Skeens 3.09. Schlittler 3 FIP, Skeens 2.45 FIP. Schlittler 30.4 strikeout rate, Skeens 31.3. Schlittler 8.7 walk rate, Skeens 5.3. 1.7 F4 for Schlittler, 1.9 F4 for Skeens. So they're not the same player. Paul Skeens has earned the right to be worlds ahead and is until further notice, but that's a third of a season sample size, and it's during one is a Paul Skeens Cy Young campaign, and the other is Cam Schlittler's first taste of Major League Baseball action. So Yankees might have had the Yankees might historically be right here if we can be optimistic and positive about the front office's abilities to find talent.
They tried to trade for Paul Skeens last year. That's a real trade offer that Cam Schlittler is in. He was in the trade offer. So I mean, again, there's nothing is going to be enough to get Skeens out of Pittsburgh at this point in time, but Yankee fans were done a disservice there too. Not to rant and rave, but like the Spencer Jones being the only name to get out of the trade package last year, so that everyone from every other fan base could be like, the Yankees think they can trade Spencer Jones for Paul Skeens, and then the actual offer comes out this year, and Spencer Jones is obviously the fourth name in the list if you're looking at the talent that they're trying to swap. And people, I mean, you can still disagree and think that's not enough for Skeens. It's not. You're going to have to go 8 for 1 if you're trading for Skeens right now, but that's an actual offer. The Yankees put forth a real offer that theoretically the Pirates should have had to go, I mean, no, but those guys are available. But instead, all we heard was Spencer Jones. And so the entire the internet space could go, the Yankees are insane. They think Spencer Jones is a major leaguer and you've been trading for Paul Skeens. But actually, he's borderline a throw-in this offer if he's the fourth piece for Paul Skeens. Does that make more sense? Not to anyone, apparently. It's still insane. But there we go. And yes, of course, we are seeing what's going on at AAA. I saw the comment earlier about Spencer outshining our boy, Jason Domínguez. Again, I don't know if I can say this more, strongly. Jason Domínguez is not my boy. Jason Domínguez is not someone I am trading for garbage at this point in time. Jason Domínguez is also 4 for 13 to start the season. Jason Domínguez is also the future DH of the New York Yankees when Giancarlo Stanton retires, in my opinion. So the defense is still awful, and it's getting scarier by the day. But that's lowering his trade value even more. I'm not swapping him for what I'm being offered for him right now. I'm just not doing it. I'm holding him in reserve for when Stanton retires or goes down, which is sadly inevitable. So as depressing as it is to see him be unable to track a fly ball in left field, I'm still thankful I have both Jones and Domínguez in the system for my future needs. I'm not going to be unhappy about that ever until there's a game-deciding Jason Domínguez error, and I can rage about how he's in the outfield when he should be in the DH box.
Yeah, I mean, this is... I don't even know, because I'm so done arguing about Jason Domínguez. At this point, we talked candidly about what the deal was here. And this dates back to an erroneous clip that went around suggesting he was starting the year in AAA, which just wasn't true. It ended up being correct, which great. Like that was the case, but it wasn't true at the time.
They signed Randall Grichuk. Yeah.
Jason Domínguez needs to improve on his right-handed hitting and his defense in order to be an asset for the Yankees. The left-handed bat is burnished. He's good. That's major league ready. He could play every day at the major league level, only batting lefty. The Yankees, unfortunately, don't need that. So what was previously viewed as a problem where you were saying, oh, well, the Yankees stacked too many lefties on this roster and too many outfielders on this roster and now have clogged a path for Jason Domínguez, and he now has to start the year in the minor leagues. And I partially believe that, right? I think there's truths to all the sides. Like, one is he did not get enough consistent playing time and did not get rewarded with more playing time when his bat was on fire. I think the stats were last year. He had 15 multi-hit games and he was benched after 8 of them, something like that. Or maybe it was he was benched after 8 multi-hit games, which in my mind is like, what are we doing here? That's not a message to send to a young up-and-coming player, and it's definitely not a recipe conducive to improving your lineup. If somebody's hot, it doesn't matter what the matchup is. They're hot, put them in the game. That's the end of the story. So that's one. 2 is the fact that there is a serious problem with Jason Domínguez's defense because, yeah, we can argue about the reps all we want, right? Like we could say, oh, he needs to be playing every day out there in left field. Like how is he supposed to get better? The fact of the matter is Jason Domínguez is a professional baseball player. Like nobody's asking him to step into the batter's box in the 8th inning to face the best reliever on the other team as his rep for the day. They're asking him to fill in from time to time at a defensive position that is not at all foreign to him. That is not at all that much different between AAA and the big leagues. And he's consistently not passing tests. He made some nice plays in spring training, absolutely, but then we saw him beef a number of routine ones, which then at that point we said, okay, optioning him, yes, is upsetting. He should be here. His ability to burst onto the scene in 2023 was it was a mixed message. We thought this was ushering in a completely new era of Yankees baseball, and now we have a talented but imperfect prospect who can't fit on this roster, and he's going to toil away in AAA still. Like, that's just frustrating regardless of what the reality is, right? It doesn't matter if he's good enough or if he's not to play on the major league roster every day. It's just like, how is this happening? This was a guy who was dubbed the Martian. He should be ready and he should be playing. But yeah, he can't track down fly balls at the wall. He cannot make plays at the warning track. He takes bad angles and routes on balls, and there's not going to be a place for him until Giancarlo Stanton is off this team. That's the reality. Until the DH spot is opened up again, Jason Domínguez has no place on this team unless he's able to improve on the defense, and that's on him. That's not on anybody else. The right-handed hitting, I think that's more on the organization than the defense is. If Jason Domínguez is not hitting right from the right side of the plate and he's raking on the left side of the plate and he continues to progress through the minors and reach the professional reach the major leagues and is regressing on the right side of the plate, then the organization needs to make a call and say, Jason Domínguez, you are not hitting righty anymore. You're establishing yourself as a left-handed hitter, and that's it. But the defense, that's on him. It's practice, it's comfortability, it's beating whatever the yips are. Like, this is a version of the yips. At least he doesn't have Roman Anthony's arm, though, so that's a positive we could take away. But yeah, I mean, Spencer Jones, I think, is the probably better overall player if he can cut down on his strikeouts at this rate, just based on what we've seen. So that, I mean, that's not a surprise. I think that there are probably people in the Yankees organization who value Jones over Domínguez. I don't think that's out of the question.
Another thing of, like, it's so embarrassing Jones has surpassed Domínguez, the first round pick out of Vanderbilt with 60 homer power. Like,
yeah, who's older? Older, and yeah, like, what? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, that's not embarrassing at all. I think that they are both similar talents in terms of their capabilities. I think that Domínguez faced a lot more pressure than Jones, if we're being honest. Jason Domínguez was signed as a 16, 17-year-old and was dubbed the next Mickey Mantle or Mike Trout, and did not become that. So, I mean, I think if Spencer Jones was drafted 3-4 years earlier than he was projected to and was compared to Barry Bonds, we'd be having a different conversation, and Spencer Jones might not be the player that he is or might not have progressed in the manner that he did. But yeah, also funny to see people clowning on Spencer Jones, like, oh, he's turning 25. It's like, I'm sorry, he's not 20. Like, I don't know.
I'd love to see Roman Anthony's birth certificate. Are we sure? He's
you trust
21.
his parents to be honest about that?
Have you seen the man? He looks like a 29-year-old deli owner. Are we positive he's 21 years old? No. Yeah, I mean, look, congrats to Roman Anthony for being young and extremely good. It takes a lot of people a lot longer to develop. Jones is 24, Domínguez is 23. I forget that almost every day. I have to go back and reference it because it is wild. They've been in our
also
lives.
Don't care.
I don't care. You can help me out. It's not your prime yet, is it? No.
Yeah. Aaron Judge debuted when? I mean, I'm not comparing them to Aaron Judge, but Aaron Judge debuted at the tail end of his
25
season.
Yeah, I believe he was 25.
Yeah, he was 24, 25. So, like, it's just not impossible. It's not possible to be a contributing good major league player if you don't debut by the time you're 20 years old. That's it.
Aaron Judge debuted at 25. He is almost 34 now. He has 62.3 BWAR over the course of his career. That's a Hall of Fame level if he retired today. So that's where we're at with 25-year-old debuting Aaron Judge. Not comparing, not contrasting, just saying stuff out loud. Anything else you want to touch on before the Yankees go to Seattle, which is tonight? Again, a very normal week. 3 games in Seattle, not all night games, but tonight is a night game. Godspeed if you are watching that. It's only the 4th game of the regular season. Already we're dealing with West Coast start time annoyances. And then they get Thursday off because, of course, they do. That's the kind of stuff that happens. And coming back for the home opener on Friday afternoon, or as the Giants call it, opening day. I'm excited to see what they have in store against the Marlins. Night games tonight and tomorrow, 9:40 Eastern. Ryan Weathers starts tonight, and the pressure is a little bit lower given the 3-0 start, but the pressure is still there. We still will be watching it with the side eye ready.
Yankees kind of own the Mariners, though, in Seattle, too.
Yeah.
So I think we could I think we could do it. I think we could come back home 6-0. We'll see. We'll see. It's Ryan Weathers is tonight.
Ryan Weathers, Luis Castillo is tonight. Then we'll circle back to Max Fried and Cam Schlittler because of the off days. So again, interesting.
Yeah, Ryan Weathers. I mean, that's going to be a big one. I'm hopeful for him. The spring did not give me any optimism. It didn't tell me anything differently about him, but maybe something's different. Who knows? One last thing I want to talk about. We need to preview this series. It's the Mariners. It's the first month of the series. Mariners were really good last year. They got a little bit better this offseason. Yeah. Yankees are team. Have some fun. Play some.
We'll see you on Thursday when the whole series is done. You can let us know.
Yeah. But the Blue Jays, Toronto Blue Jays fans, come on down because you did an AL pennant banner ceremony on opening day. And for a team that pissed all over the Yankees for winning the AL in 2024 and losing in the World Series the manner that they did, this is it for you because you choked the World Series away worse than the Yankees could have. I'm not generally one to compare losses, but I can sleep at night with the way the Yankees lost 2024 World Series. If the Yankees lost the World Series like the Blue Jays did, I would be just as bitter as everybody in Toronto because they all
leave. I would never leave my house. It would not happen.
Nope. But you have Vladdy and George Springer on the mic, like gassing up the crowd, being like, "We're going to do everything possible for you to make this a special season. Drop the banner, Rogers Center." It was just so lame. And the fact that, again, like anything the Yankees do that is in the spotlight or doesn't result in the ultimate goal of a World Series championship, they are ripped to shreds. So this has to be in the news. This has to be brought to everybody's attention. And Blue Jays are not making the playoffs this year. I did it. I fucking did it. Not making it. Sorry.
Very annoyingly magical opening series from the Blue Jays, though, in which I thought they were going to go blew the save on opening day, won that. Down 6-2 on a Shea Langoliers grand slam in the seventh, won that thanks to Mark Leiter Jr. And then the strikeout disparity was crazy. They struck out like 50-plus A's, and the A's struck out 17 Blue Jays batters through 3 games. So they're not cheating. They're definitely not cheating. But whatever they were doing last year to increase their zone contact, definitely still happening. Not cheating, though. Whatever it is, that's not what it is. I'm sure Blue Jays fans will love that. They'll be rational about that clip. A very offhanded sardonic comment. They're going to claim that is my senior thesis when it was, in fact, something I said to elicit laughter. The great people up there in Toronto have been very, very normal commenting on all of our Fanside MLB staffers videos and all that stuff. Thank you for joining us. We will see you on Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Yankees Go Yard podcast on YouTube, and then on your favorite podcast platform afterward. Saw some familiar names joining us in the comments today. Good to see you. If you are here every week, every show, please tell your friends. Please rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. 5 stars helps. I'm Adam Weiner. You can find me on Twitter, Thomas Carinate. I'm not telling you my handle. You have to find it yourself.
Find it.
Carinate, where can the people find you?
You guys got me. We got people coming after me already today at Tommy's_takes. I want more. Want to have some fun. Want to talk some baseball. It's a bunch of nothing, guys. We're just here to exist until whatever happens, right? Head on over to yanksgoyard.com. That's where all the written content is. We got so much stuff there that we're not talking about on the pod. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do not forget it. Yankees Mariners tonight, 9:40. Maybe an espresso at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Should
probably hit your peak at 9:15, 9:30. Ride the little caffeine high until 11:15. Do some meditation around when the 8th, 9th inning rolls around. You go to bed a little after midnight. I think we can get. Everyone's always talking about, hey, it's the West Coast. It's late out. No, let's get a routine down. Let's get a collective routine down where we can be dialed in for the innings we need to. And look, God forbid, there's going to be the extra innings. There's going to be the super late night ones, but let's plan for everything to be 9 innings. Let's figure out a way where we can be the most efficient, not be tired the next day. I think it's possible.
Pitch clock helps your ass on these West Coast games, and so does 9:40. But still, 9:40 is 9:40. At least it's not a Mariners home opener. No pomp, no circumstance, just the New York Yankees coming to town, hoping to continue what they showed over the weekend. I enjoyed the hell out of what I saw over the weekend. I'd like to see more of it, quite frankly. And if you'd like to see more of this, show up every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Until next time, I'm Adam Weiner for Thomas Carinate. Take care, everybody.